free vaccines without guardian consent.
Into play, you're going to be held accountable, every single one of you. Every single one of you. Every one of you. I'm inviting you now to join us. To stop this happening. Right now.
What's the oath that you took? And now you're letting children line up for free ice cream.
Hey, Rise Up. We're at Nathan Phillips Square. We're at the pop-up vaccine clinic.
There's stuff going in those kids'
And the police have just told us that we are not allowed to be on the Nathan Phillips Square property. So we're out on the sidewalk now.
You're not doing your own for you.
And we're trying to speak to the police.
I told you before.
We are mothers and we are pissed off. We are not moving. This is our baby. You are with our baby. We are mothers. We are fathers. The strength of parenthood has taken over us and we are not moving. I'm telling you guys running the truth of what is going on over there. That's it. We are pissed. We are at our end. We have been respectful with you. We have been patient with you. We have tried to guide you to the right. But now you are messing with our children. And that is not okay. You want to arrest all of us? Arrest all of us. You want to beat us to the ground? Beat us to the ground. This is our children. And we will not back down. We will not back down. You don't scare me. You don't intimidate me. I have the strength of 4 children in my soul. You don't scare me. You want to be cowards and punks, and you want to stand here while all the babies get this vaccine, and now it's on you. I have the strength of children inside my soul, and for that, as a mother, I am not moving. No, that's enough. Not doing this anymore. No. No. You the wrong generation. My children are in harm. My children, your children, whether or not you have the capacity to understand this, your children, enough.
Amen, sister. Now that's the truth. Keep your ice cream and your tyranny, and stay away from our kids. But they can't resist targeting the children, and they're starting to say the private part publicly. What happens when vaccine incentives aren't enough? Bloomberg believes compulsory shots are the answer. That means forced inoculation globally. And if that wasn't proof enough of the growing pandemic police state, Colorado has decided to turn to a counterterrorism expert to advise how to conquer the minds of resistors. Clint Watts is the hired needle and a West Point grad, and he believes that it may take an army to conquer vaccine misinformation, or facts, as the saying call it, and he wants to be that army's intelligence officer. Mr. Watts may have to start with the CDC, as our Agency for Disease Control has announced they will publicly begin altering data about test results, advising down to the state level to limit their submissions for possible breakthrough infections. In practice, the new CDC COVID reporting policy will no longer count anyone who has symptoms or infections if they have already been vaccinated. Instead, they will just put that down in the vaccinated category. For those who have not been vaccinated, if you experience symptoms or report illness, you will be counted as a positive case. The result, as vaccination rates go up, it will automatically seem that infection rates have plummeted, because like the mask, the vaccine gives an invisible immunity to those who have submitted, but it's only evident on Fauci's scorecard. Joining me to discuss this new season of the pandemic and more is my co-host, Doc Burkhart.
That last story that you had there, Edward, I mean, it tells, exactly how they plan to fudge the numbers in the future. It lays out, all right, they've told you for months now, if you've got the vaccine, you won't get the virus. And then they started having people who had the vaccine, the double shot, and they were getting the virus. And so now, rather than address people getting the virus, they'll just say, oh, it doesn't count because they've been vaccinated, even though they have all the symptoms of coronavirus and have coronavirus.
Which shouldn't happen, right?
That's right.
The point of the vaccine, at least the rumors, because if you ask them officially, they'll tell you the vaccination doesn't stop you from getting COVID. It's not the point. The point is, officially, to lower the symptoms.
That's right.
The hospitalizations of people, if you do get it. But that's not the rumor. The rumor that they love to fuel, they're not going to address this misinformation, is that it makes you immune. You're now cured. You're now free. That's not it. And honestly, they don't like to talk about the side effects and the deaths that they themselves are reporting through theirs.
Right, because the premise, of course, is that if they've got vaccines and people are getting coronavirus and the vaccines don't work, right? Well, we can't have that cell going off, so we've got to just change the report. And so, yeah, if you did that in bookkeeping, they'd throw you in jail for fraud. And so,
well, Doc, before we get too far ahead, do you mind giving an update on Rick?
Yeah, Rick and Susan last week moved into a new home away from the city, and